Testing, 1, 2. Welcome to Avenger Park. Testing, 1, 2. Avenger Park, Saturday afternoon, NPLW Victoria football. Good. Daniel's in here, so he can't do it too. Good to go.
Help us level the playing field. Sign the parliamentary petition today to fuel the growth and fund the game.
have Brunner, Higuchi, Cooling, Rees, Vane, Fontes, Parker, Savary Ryan, Herford, Wolf and Chris Field. And as always, we will endeavour to bring you how they line up as the game moves on. The match today will be officiated by centre referee Ben Howell and assisted by Lin Cho Manyan and Masi Pei Ravi. Cool and mostly cloudy here in Parkville today, around 15 degrees with a southerly breeze and very little chance of rain. And the pitch for this time of year has actually held up in quite decent nick. So it should be quite a good day for the players today. We have Avondale in their full blue strip, kicking from left to right, with Boroondara Eagles in their white with purple trim, kicking from right to left. And in what should be, like I said, an exciting clash today, joined me to my left is Oscar Rutherford, who will be calling the game with me. And it should be quite an exciting game, Oscar.
Well, a bit of a pre-finals preview, Daniel. Really looking forward to this game between two teams who could well meet again in a couple of weeks' time, of course, starting off this afternoon, 4th and 5th position respectively. Avondale still mathematically in with a chance of claiming a premiership crown. Very unlikely at this point following their draw with Box Hill last time out, but still fighting hard to secure that top 4 finish first and foremost, and maybe sneak in ahead of Bulleen. So much to play for, of course. Boroondara, they've almost sewn up a top 6 spot themselves. A win today would guarantee that. But really just an opportunity for both of these teams to make a real statement against another one of the real contenders in season 2026.
Yeah, absolutely. It certainly is a preview for how the finals will map out as the game kicks off here at Avenger Park. Avondale with early possession so far, and we can see a familiar front three for them lining up already with Sloane Young, Hannah Wilkinson, and it seems to be Aidan Keane on the far hand side, with Beatty Goad coming into the midfield, super versatile, partnered with Miata and Kellen Knight, who looks to be operating in that anchoring role alongside Miata to begin with. So a couple changes from Avondale from last week, who in my opinion were quite lucky to come away with a draw against Box Hill. And it really sets the blueprint for the visitors today. If they can get in the face of Avondale early and be able to press them, they've certainly got a game on. That's when they get uncomfortable and can lead to a lot of turnovers. I thought last week Minarek did a fantastic job on Sloane Young, really minimising her effect out in the wing. So that is certainly going to be a key battle today between her and Madeline Rees. And Boroondara themselves, although losing 1-0 to Bulleen Lions last week, were super unlucky and really pressed Bulleen Lions and made them uncomfortable. So it'll be absolutely interesting to see today how they go about the task of being able to break down the home team.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we have to remember that Avondale, that 1-1 draw with Box Hill last time out, but coming into that game, they'd won 8 straight league games. So they've been the form team in the second half of the campaign, have the Avengers. They've looked nigh on unstoppable. As you mentioned, the 1-1 draw maybe had the slightly better quality of chances against Box Hill, but I mean, that was a really cracking fixture between two teams who we could well see on the final day of the season. And for Boroondara, I mean, they've always been there and thereabouts throughout the course of the season. I think the real trouble for them has been they haven't often enough got those wins against the teams above them. We haven't quite seen that their ceiling is as high as some of their rivals. So a chance to prove that today. So see Aidan Keane charging down the left flank, cross inside. It's over the head of Taylor Wolf, but Hannah Wilkinson unable to nod at home either. And we see it's a pretty high tempo start to this one. Georgia Trainer deemed to have been the last player to have touched the ball as it rolls on out for a Boroondara throw. The Eagles themselves have been on a decent winning run, 3 in a row before last week's defeat at the hands of Bulleen. Those 3 consecutive wins, including the win against Alamein, which will go a long way to securing their top 6 berth. What's been a really impressive season, led by young head coach Luca Var. Of course, his real opportunity to make a mark in the coaching ranks with this Boroondara team. This is Aiden Keane once more for Avondale. Her ball forward. Keane returning to the lineup alongside Gulcan Janet Saras, being fairly able replacements for the absent Ellie Wilson, as well as Danny Galuccio, who's dropped to the bench for this afternoon's game. Taylor Ray back into the Avondale matchday squad as well. Her move cross town from Melbourne Victory to Melbourne City announced during the week too, so big week for Taylor, joining a couple of her Avondale teammates with Melbourne City connections this campaign. And now it's the Avengers just looking to assert their control on the tempo in this one early.
Opting for a more direct approach is Avondale early on in this game. Certainly something we've been accustomed to. It'll be interesting to see Accardo and Janet Saris really dictate the tempo from the back and be able to bring the ball into those midfield positions and really unlock the pace of Keane and Sloane Young out wide as the ball goes towards Hannah Wilkinson there from Trainer. Cleared by Wolf first time. Slight shove in the back there from Barrero. She gets away with it as Avondale will look to reset. For me, it's the cleanliness in possession, and it's something there that they need to be able to improve on as Brunner has a chance at goals. Shot on, first of the day, trying to test Bennett from range on her left foot. She's certainly going to be one to look out for today. 12 goals so far this season. Their top goal scorer for the Eagles. And her pace and trickery out wide is certainly something to look out for. As Savory Ryan picks it up, plays it into Vane. And it's a turn and shot there by Fontes. Again, Eagles being able to apply the pressure just exactly what the blueprint was at the start of the game. As Higuchi picks up the ball. And Eagles now have an opportunity to be able to reset.
Yeah, I mean, first time that we've really seen the Eagles press paying off, isn't it? That Avondale, no surprise to see them with plenty of the possession early and trying to control the tempo of the game. So Boroondara might well see themselves as having some of their best opportunities coming from winning the ball high up the pitch and really bringing the game to their hosts this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. Boroondara Eagles only averaging 46% possession across their games so far this season compared to the hosts who have 57%, as Keane drawing towards the byline there and cutting it back. So certainly expect Avondale to have the majority of the control of the game and Eagles really having their opportunities on the counter-attack. But they'll certainly be tested. And so far, they've done a good job of being able to take the game to the hosts within the opening 6 minutes. Throw comes in. Fontes just misjudges that one. Really good defending there by Accardo, just to be able to apply a little bit of pressure and take control of the ball. And as we can see here, the visitors trying to go man for man where they can in the midfield. That's certainly going to be a good battle there. Certainly going to be hotly contested in the middle of the park today, as Wolf will look to be able to scoop that one forwards. Beatty Goad now picking up possession. Time and space to be able to pick out Keane. Now 1v1 with Shantea Herford. Good overlapping run there by Goad, who cuts it back to Keane. Opportunity to shoot at the top of the box. Fakes it. Draws inside. Little Maradona spin from Keane. Really being able to show the skills. Forks it out to Sloane Young now. 1v1 with Reese. Twisting and turning Sloane Young as she does so well. Gets a shot off. Saved at the near post by Wolf. First opportunity we've seen there from Sloane Young. Really going at Reese there. Trainer in the corner. Tries a little nutmeg. Doesn't come off on this occasion. Semi-cleared by the Eagles, only as far as Miata, who's coming through and can't quite find a teammate. As possession changes hands, deep in Eagles' corner. And a misplaced pass there by Vane, cut off. And Avondale will look to recycle possession and go coast to coast. Aidan Keane tagged really closely by Herford. Goad inside now to Kellen Knight. And they'll slow down the tempo and try to find the gaps. Hannah Wilkinson picking up the ball now. 1v1 with Higuchi, but does really well to come across. Does the captain of the Eagles, and the ball goes out for a throw.
Yeah, first real meaningful spell from Avondale in possession. That last little bit of play. That shot coming in from Sloan Young. Always the tight angle favouring the goalkeeper, but Taylor Wolf doing very well to get the hands up in time and parry that shot away. Of course, as much as Boroondara will be hoping to win the ball back high up a few times, we know that Avondale are more than capable of doing the same, as we see the Avengers press led by Hannah Wilkinson for the moment there, but now Boroondara working their way out. This is one of the toughest away trips in the Senol NPLW Victoria this season, coming to Avenger Park to take on Avondale. It's a pretty close to perfect record for the Avengers this season. Here playing at home, they've put together the 10 wins and just the 2 defeats across the course of the season. Those 2 defeats coming, curiously enough, against Heidelberg United and Spring Hill, so not by any stretch direct rivals in the finals campaign this season. It does mean that of all the other top 7 teams that they have already played here at Avenger Park, they've beaten every single one of them thus far. Avondale, cumulative score 13 goals to 2. And those 2 goals scored by Essendon Royals, the highest scorers in the comp. That's a dangerous giveaway at the back by Bennett, inviting a little bit of Boroondara pressure. The offside flag would have relieved them in any case. Yes, of the other 6 teams in the top 7, they've hosted 5 of them here already. Avondale beaten all 5 of them, kept clean sheets against 4 of them. Tells you something about how dominant they've been for large parts of the season, particularly at home. Avondale. That giveaway could do a bit of a favour for Boroondara as they look to launch forward through Vane. Didn't last long, that quick counter-attack, although Vane looks to restart it here. Uses Parker a little bit further forward, but there was Beatty Goad. Pass back to Janet Saritz, gives it away to Brunner on. Brunner's hit the post. Well, not for the first time this afternoon. Sarah Brunner stealing in behind on a loose Avondale pass and very nearly opening the scoring for the Eagles. Just the woodwork denying Boroondara, but Sarah Brunner showing the threat that she poses in this game.
Absolutely. Hailing from Jacksonville, Florida, Brunner very close to be able to get her 13th of the season there, as Aidan Keane has an opportunity to really attack and go at the Eagles' defence here. Arguably nearly just a drag back there from Crisfield is what she's appealing for, but she didn't get it, and ultimately it's a free kick to the Eagles at the end of the day. But Avondale have got to be so careful playing out the back there, giving away cheap possession. And it so could have easily been 1-0 to the visitors there. That'll certainly give them a confidence boost, knowing that there is spaces to be able to attack the Avondale defence. As Wolf lobs it forward into the direction of Fontes. Carter will play back to Bennett. This time she gets plenty of distance on her clearance, all the way out for a throw-in on the far-hand side.
But it's been a really watchable first 12 or so minutes, Daniel. I mean, it's great to see Boroondara taking the game to Avondale. Of course, there are moments when the Avengers are in control generally, but Boroondara doing a lot of attacking of their own.
That's exactly what we want to see. And from what I saw last week against Bulleen Lions, the Eagles are certainly capable of it. And if Avondale aren't clean enough in possession, as they were in the first 45 against Box Hill last week, the Eagles will cause them problems, as they have done already here, as Hereford, with a touch down the line, tackled and fouled on this occasion on the far right-hand side of the pitch. It was just a momentary lapse of concentration last week for the Eagles, conceding from a set piece. And outside of that, I thought they were pretty flawless. Hit the crossbar on one occasion from Fontes early in the first half. So they've got absolutely no reason to be in their shell and sit too far off Avondale, and it seems like that's been the direction from the coach early on in this game. Plenty of targets to hit in the box, as the ball will come into the box, controlled by Savarian. Crisfield chips it out to Higuchi, who just strayed offside there. And Avondale, in all fairness, defended that set piece quite well. And now we'll have an opportunity to be able to build up and see if they can put a little bit of pressure on that Eagles goal. Keane certainly heavily involved so far early on in this game. Janitsaris trying to play it down the wing. Not on this occasion. Traynor keeping her place at right back this week. Throwing it down the line towards Sloane Young. Just bounced off her. And Eagles now with the opportunity to be able to reset. Look out for Elijah Crisfield in the midfield for Eagles. Ripe age of only 16 years. Really playing above her level here, as the age would suggest, going toe-to-toe with quite an experienced midfield with Avondale. Played a fantastic game as Kellen Knight goes across goals to Savary Ryan, blocked by Accardo, and Vane with the shot as a follow-up. Again, dangerous play there from the host, Oscar.
Yeah, Avondale not learning their lessons. They've coughed it up again to Boroondara in such a dangerous position. As you mentioned, Savary Ryan there. That time to pounce on the opportunity just a little bit too far out, and the bodies were back defending for Avondale. But it's hardly been a comfortable opening 15 minutes for Del Donnelly's team. It's a game that means so much to both of these teams still, even if they are both nestled fairly comfortably in the finals mix with a couple games remaining this season. This is, of course, one of a number of concurrent fixtures taking place in the Senol NPLW Victoria this afternoon. A huge day in the penultimate regular season round of football. Royals, Box Hill, Alamein, Bulleen, all in action around the grounds. As we see Boroondara hoping to find a way through. Parker looks towards Savary Ryan, but well managed and well defended by Cam Barrero. Does, however, mean Boroondara have themselves a corner.
I haven't seen too much of Coco Parker pop up so far in this game, a really key element to the Eagles' attack. We did just see her get on the ball there and play that through pass into the feet of Savary Ryan. More of that is certainly what I want to be able to see for the remainder of the game, getting Parker in the ball in those dangerous spots.
So it's Crisfield to take, opts to go short towards Brunner. Sarah Brunner pulled the trigger. Never favourite from the distance or the angle, and indeed sends it well over the top of the frame of the goal. But it's been a good 5 minutes for Boroondara, probably their best of the game thus far. And you wonder whether this is sustainable for the Eagles, or whether Avondale will be able to eventually manufacture a response. They do have a bit of a pressure valve release, as Brooke Bennett will get play back underway with a goal kick. Avondale, the stingiest defence in the top flight of Victorian football this campaign. They haven't looked especially secure at the back in the opening of this one. They're now looking to spring forward. That ball sent upfield, but headed away by Cooling. Only as far as Barrero. Now Miata on the turn. A couple of former Heidelberg players. Now Ricardo stepping out from the back. No doubt Avondale feeling much more comfortable with the ball in the Boroondara half as they retreat all the way to their experienced midfielder in at least Kellen Knight. Boroondara back in possession just for a moment. Beatty Goad has Sloan Young making the run. A little bit of space on the right for Young. Thinks about the cross, sends it in now. Wilkinson just pulled the shot ever so slightly. But both teams, they don't need a whole lot of time in and around the opposition penalty area to create a look at goal. And we've seen that at both ends of the pitch. Boroondara, though, they survive another attack. And this game finally poised as we edge towards the 20-minute mark of the first half.
You're certainly right, Oscar, about the stingiest defence. Avondale only conceded 23 goals so far this season. And that really is the major difference between the two teams. Boroondara Eagles conceding 35 and scoring 48 compared to the 57 goals for Avondale. Now, if we all had a striker like Hannah Wilkinson up front scoring 19 a season so far like she has done, it certainly makes things a lot easier. But that truly is the difference between the two sides so far up to this point in the campaign. As centre referee Ben Howell just making a note there for Wolf on the goal kicks. And they've played it out quite well there through Vane and Reese, but only as far as Trainer, who sends the ball up the line. Cool, calm and composed Isaguchi at all times. Sends it forward to Parker, just off her thigh and out for a throw.
Just you were talking about the difference between Boroondara and the rest of the teams in the finals mix, and I mean the goals conceded for the Eagles, 35 of them. That's meaningfully more than any of the other teams in the race for finals. So that's really what's held them back, as well as, I mean, despite that, their results against their rivals in the top 6 or 7 have been fairly decent. We'll see Sarah Brunner now making the run.
Brunner cutting inside now, shaping to shoot, releasing Fontes, and it's a goal! 1-0 to the visitors, and a great run there from Brunner across the face of goals, and a superb reverse pass there, Oscar, releasing Fontes, who had only one thought on her mind with her left foot, tucking it past Brooke Bennett there, and a great goal from the Eagles.
Well, what a run it was from Sarah Brunner. She's been at the heart of just about everything good Boroondara have managed so far in this game in an attacking sense. And the finish to match from Jen Fontes hasn't had nearly as much of an influence, but that was a clinical finish into the bottom corner. It's tough to argue that Boroondara don't deserve the goal. They've been more than a match for Avondale in the opening 20 minutes of this one. And I mean, to see Avondale really on the back foot at times in this opening half, it's Boroondara sending a message to the rest of the competition. They are as good as any of the other teams who are getting set to play finals, Boroondara, and if they can see out the remainder of this one, it'll be an almighty statement. Still a long way to go, but a really positive start for Boroondara.
Absolutely, and that counter-attack there really at the forefront of the blueprint that they wanted to be able to set out today, and it's come off perfectly on that occasion. As we just saw Aidan Keane throwing up her arms in absolute disgust with her teammates, really not happy with the options that she had on the ball. And the Avondale midfield three, for me, just haven't really been combining as well as I thought they would have so far today. It's a little bit of a change-up with their structure in the midfield, and really being able to have that pivot at the base has stopped them being able to supply Wilkinson with genuine opportunities. She's having to do a lot of what she's just done there, applying pressure herself and kind of leading that front line. You can still see there Keane remonstrating with her teammates, really not happy. And Avondale have been unsettled so far in this contest. But I would like to see Kellen Knight and Miata really take more control of that midfield. Emma Vane and Chrisfield and Parker doing a superb job at the moment, really being able to marshal and corral that space in the middle of the park.
I think what you identified, Daniel, is absolutely the case. The player-on-player defending, those three midfielders hardly having any space to breathe. The only time we've really seen, for example, KK with some time and space on the ball is when she's dropped back into defence. So Boroondara are player-on-player backing themselves, and they're doing a pretty good job of it so far. Here is Young for Avondale, making the charge down the right. Level foot skills on display. And the last touch coming off the Avondale wingers. So Boroondara survive another Avondale foray forward. They are making life uncomfortable for their hosts, Boroondara. A win today would keep their top 4 hopes alive. The chance to even leapfrog Avondale on the last day of the season. That will still require a few results to go their way, as well as a long time left in this one. But Avondale, they're under pressure. A test has been really laid out for them by Boroondara. Here's Crisfield playing it to Fontes. You saw the idea of Brunner. She had some space. The ball was sent the wrong side of the Boroondara number 3. Offside flag did go up in any case. The instruction there from Boroondara head coach Luke Avar telling Priya Savirayan to come into the middle of the park when the ball's all the way on this camera side of the pitch, really looking to compress the space for Boroondara. And they're doing it to pretty good effect thus far. Here's Higuchi stepping out of defence and asking a fair bit of Maddie Rees. Chest down from Young to Miata. And now Keane has the pace and power to get past Herford. Wonderful recovery though from the Boroondara defender. Shanteo Herford was beaten the first time round, but stuck in a vital toe to disrupt the Avondale attack. It does look as if Avondale though will get another look at it though. They've got a free kick for a handball committed by Priya Savirayan. Well, as an immensely engaging opening to this game. It's also been a fairly breathless one. Not too many stoppages in play. End-to-end football, and now Elise Kellon-Knight hoping to pick out a teammate as Avondale look for a way back into this game. Good depth on the ball in. Kaylin Wolf watching it the whole way. And a strong claim for the goalkeeper, of course, has stepped up to take on the role between the sticks in the absence of Mia Mossman. And has dealt with everything coming into the Boroondara penalty area with decent effect thus far. Maddie Rees reading that ball set forward by Janet Saris. They just about had a 2-on-1 there, Boroondara. Fontes and Brunner in behind the Avondale defence with the loose Janet Saris pass. At the moment, if either team looks more likely to get the second goal, it's Boroondara. Here's Brunner. Thinks about the early cross, instead retreats to Emma Vane. Referee not interested. Sloane Young deemed not to have committed a foul, so that creates a chance for the Avondale counter. Keane looking up towards Wilkinson, instead cooling, and the offside flag means it won't have counted in any case.
Certainly end-to-end, like you said, Oscar, so far, and it's certainly a welcome surprise in this game. I certainly thought Eagles would have been more likely to sit off and not go toe-to-toe with Avondale, especially in those midfield spaces, but it's coming off for them so far. And what we have is a game in which Avondale don't have as much control as they would like. The ability to be able to isolate Sloane Young and Aiden Keane out wide for them to go 1v1 with Rees and Herford hasn't really come off. And it's quite interesting to see those vocal instructions from the sideline to encourage Savirayan and Brunner to come in off the flanks and really join Fontes in the centre of the attack. You would think that would narrow their attacking focus, but it really puts pressure on Janet Saris and Accardo to be able to pick up players coming in off the touchline as Hannah Wilkinson tries to just make something of it so far. She's only had one shot, one attempt at goal so far in this game, hasn't had really many clean opportunities or the ability to actually come deeper and receive the ball back to goal. As again they go forward, Eagles, Brunner through on goals around Bennett, and it's 2-0 to the Eagles out of absolutely nothing. A mistake there. A beautiful lofted through ball into the path of Sarah Brunner, who did fantastic to be able to keep her feet and go around the goalkeeper and steer it home for 2-0. And this is absolutely not gone according to script, Oscar.
We might have a boil over on our hands at Avenger Park. 2-0 Boroondara within half an hour. Nobody saw this one coming. Avondale have been close to spotless for the better part of 2 months. Welcoming Boroondara just a couple weeks out from finals, hoping to secure a top 4 spot, but it's all going wrong for Dale Donnelly's team, and you have to give a huge degree of credit to Luke Avar and his Boroondara team. They have been excellent in the opening of this game. They've made life so uncomfortable for Avondale with the ball, and some of their play with the ball at their feet, Boroondara, has been lovely to watch as well. Sarah Brunner's been here, there, everywhere. And right now, Avondale do not have the answers. As we see once again, the Avengers just attempting to spend a little bit of time in some more comfortable possession. But Boroondara are not giving them an inch. Up or wide for Trainer. Has Brunner breathing down her neck.
It was just that mistake from Trainer, just misjudging the bouncing ball, but superb from Coco Parker just to really be able to, with the instep of her right foot, caress that into the path of Brunner from a throw-in. It really came out of nothing, and in a blink of an eye, it's 2-0.
Right now, Boroondara threatening to take this game out of sight. They could nab a third in the next 10-15 minutes. Avondale once again hoping to send it forward, but only as far as Cooling. Keane coming crashing in, showing a little bit of her frustration with how this first half hour has panned out. Would be a monumental result for Boroondara. There's still a long time to go, a lot of football to be played. We know that the last time these two teams played, Avondale turned things around despite a slow first half. It was the Eagles who led 1-0 at the break out at Eganley Reserve before Hannah Wilkinson and Askamiata turned things around for the Avengers. They'll need something similar to that this afternoon with their team 2-0 behind their visitors. And from the looks of things, Boroondara will get another chance to send the ball into the area. Referee's whistle going in favour of the team in the white shirts. A little bit of an injury concern on that far side of the pitch, but looking as if it's nothing too severe. And the end result is another look at goal for the Eagles.
This is a team that hasn't lost since round 13, Oscar. It's quite remarkable what's unfolding in front of our eyes this afternoon. I think they've absolutely been caught off guard, and Eagles have come to play. As we see Coco Parker absolutely sprinting towards the edge of the pitch for water, I believe. Haven't seen that before.
Well, the running repairs continue on the sidelines as the ball is sent in. That one won't be making the highlight reel, but Boroondara quick to return to their full complement of 11 as Coco Parker makes her way back onto the field. So that one was a little bit more straightforward to handle from Avondale, but still this game, the way it's panning out in general play, very much as Luke Avar would have drawn it up during the week. Here's Accardo hoping to change that. Stepped a long way out of defence, but as has been the case too often in this first half, it's made Avondale look exposed at the back. Crisfield, Accardo there to make amends. All the way back now to Askamiata. do wonder for Del Donnelly as he continues to watch this game pan out in a way that would be far from how he intended it. Does have Taylor Ray on the bench, and you wonder if we might see her introduced if this game doesn't change the way that it's heading at the moment. Maybe a different option for a player who is comfortable receiving the ball under pressure in those tight areas. Janet Saras-Adicado once again under the cosh. Fontes breathing down her opponent's neck, as is Savri Ryan, and Boroondara have the ball back. Ball sent forward to Parker, but over the head of the Boroondara number 10, and Bennett will happily restart play at the back for the Avengers.
I love how Coco Parker is joining Fontes in closing down the two centre-backs out of possession and really putting Avondale under the cosh. That's exactly what, if I was the coach of Boroondara Eagles, would be setting them out to do. Like we said, going player for player as the ball just runs away from Kellen Knight there. And it's opportunities like that where Avondale need to get their foot on the ball and just be a little bit cleaner in getting that pass into the final third. Because when they do get it out wide into the wings and go 1v1, they're incredibly difficult to stop. There's not many players in the league like Sloane Young who has the ability just to twist and turn both left and right. As Savri Ryan delivers the ball into the box, all the way out to the back, Traynor will clear and pass into Goad, and Avondale now have a chance to be able to counter. Wilkinson gets the ball into feet, plays a 1-2 of Miata, who looks to be able to release Sloane Young. Reese is ahead of her, uses her body well. Cooling will come across and just does what she needs to do, playing it up the line out for a throw-in, clearing the immediate danger.
It's a funny thing, momentum in football. First 20 minutes you would have said were fairly evenly matched, but just that opening goal for Boroondara has totally changed the trajectory of this game. Avondale haven't looked at all likely to score. It doesn't mean they won't, but the last maybe 15 minutes have gone all the way of Boroondara, and Avondale are working hard to try and just wrestle back some control in this game.
They've got a mountain to climb, and that 8-minute spell has totally changed the trajectory of this game so far. As the ball comes into Goad, into the midfield, beats Vane really well with a drop of the shoulder, gets her head up and tries to look for a pass. Chris Field comes across really well to be able to make that tackle. Savri Ryan lays it off to Herford, who looks for the return, won't get it. Parker in that spot that we mentioned earlier. They keep a hold of the ball. Kellen Knight does really well, just ghosting in off the shoulder to be able to get her toe in there. As Miata will look to spread the play, not on this occasion. Brunner going 1v1 and getting another shot off. Great save from Brooke Bennett. Getting her fingertips on her right glove to it. Pushing it past the post.
Well, it's just happening too often from Avondale. Sloppy passes. You're not sure if they're not seeing their opponents or they're just mishitting it. That's the kind of pass that you don't at all expect from a player like Aska Miata. And it was right to Sarah Brunner, who, not for the first time, very nearly squeezing in a goal from a tight angle.
Absolutely. NPL Team of the Year last year, Miata got her head up and had plenty of time to be able to pick out the pass, but just fired it straight into Brunner on that occasion. And it gives Eagles a chance here from the corner. A lot of numbers in the box. Lofted in, right into the honeypot, headed by Higuchi just wide of the back post. Another chance goes begging. Not the most aerial dominant, but just read the flight of the ball really well there. Kanako Higuchi flicking it wide of that far post as Janet Saris comes out. Plays Kellen Knight. 3 around her. She won't get through that. Comes away with it though. Eagles there, fantastic pressing. Again, Oscar on that occasion. I've really got to give it to them. They've certainly brought the game to Avondale and are making it hard for them to be able to play out the back. Sloane Young and Aidan Keane have swapped wings. Trying to give Avondale a new avenue of attack as Accardo there, just kind of pulling on the shirt of Fontes, but Eagles win another corner, and the play is with them at the moment.
I think at the moment Del Donnelly would like the halftime whistle to come, because it's all in the favour of Boroondara Eagles. A third goal before the break. I mean, we're not going to rule out an Avondale second half comeback, but it will make life extraordinarily tough for the Avengers as we prepare for this Crisfield delivery from the corner. It's a more direct approach this time around. Janet Saras first to get ahead to it for Avondale. Aideen Keane resuming her involvement, but doesn't get far as Vane for Boroondara. Spreads it out to Maddie Rees. Rees says, I'll go myself. The opportunity opens up. Beat 2, but not the third. And once more, Brunner's on the ball on this left-hand side. Thought about the first-time cross. Skips past Trainer. Ball inside. Oh, Fontes. The ball came at her quickly. Would have had to strike that one sweetly to direct it towards goal. Instead, sends it well wide. But another look at goal for Boroondara. Since in the last break of play, Aideen Keane coming over to the technical area and remonstrating with the coaches. She's becoming more and more animated, but that was an effective piece of play there from the Avondale forward. Still going, Aideen Keane maybe decided to take responsibility onto her own shoulders, but in the end the numbers winning out for Boroondara. The ball thumped clear by Cooling. Herford now closing down the space. This is a little bit more promising for the hosts as Keane spreads it to Young. Young has options in the box if she wants to cross, decides to go herself. Sloane Young. Well, we've seen her pick out the top corner on more than one occasion this season. That time, the deflection taking it narrowly wide of the frame of the goal.
We haven't seen that for 20 minutes, and Sloane Young has finally popped up again, but it's taken Hannah Wilkinson to be able to drop 30 yards from where she wanted to be to actually get into that spot in the first place to build that attack, as Kellen Knight will swing in this corner. Right in the honey pot in the middle, Higuchi clears. Parker tries to put it into the path of Brunner. Miata with the Maradona spin there. Not given on that occasion. It looks like a clear foul, but Ben Howe all over it in a good spot to be able to judge the play. It seems like Avondale have come out for a celebration here. Janet Saras playing her last home game for the hosts. And it's only now that they've really started to come into the game. They've averaged 2.3 goals per game across this season, so you can only expect that they're eventually going to be able to open the scoring for themselves at some point, as Accardo tries to release Barrero down that left-hand side, but just not on this occasion. They have been a little bit sloppy, and I'm sure that's going to be a message at half-time that will get across in the dressing room. It was a superb effort, though, from Sloane Young, looking for that far top corner. Savory Ryan does fantastic there on the far-hand side just to beat her opponent, going 1v1 with Accardo now. Only one in the box. She does pick out Brunner. It goes towards the back. Fontes, saved from Bennett. She'll have another go. Fontes, and it's 3. It's 3-0 here at Avenger Park. And it's a counter-attack again that has proven to unlock the Avondale defence. They only had one in the box, Oscar. How she had 2 attempts at it, I'm not too sure. And Fontes is having an absolute field day today, from only a couple yards out, firing it into the top of the net. And it's 3-0.
Well, this is turning into the afternoon for Boroondara Eagles. 3 goals in the first 45. They have announced themselves well and truly as a legitimate contender in season 2026 as we head towards September. Avondale in shambles across the pitch. Jen Fontes popping up in the dangerous position again. Once more, the pressing and the winning of the ball high up the pitch pays dividends. And a mountain which was already steep for the Avengers just became almost insurmountable. And Boroondara, well, they don't want this half to end. Everything they touch is turning to gold at the minute. Main spreading it out to Fontes, and maybe they've got their eyes on a fourth, the Eagles. They have been relentless. Cross inside isn't bad. That time, Janet Zara's doing enough to direct it towards Speedy Goad. You mentioned the milestone occasion for Gulshan Janet Zara's running through the banner, celebrating their leader at the back, Avondale. But it's been a nightmare first 45 for the team, particularly from a defensive standpoint. There has been hardly a moment to breathe if you are one of the Avondale players this afternoon. Well, as we continue to creep towards the halftime break, from this point onwards, I think Boroondara will just be intent on ensuring their clean sheet remains intact. Get into the halftime break with what would be an almighty advantage. They've got a throw in to defend here as Keane is the target, but doesn't get past Herford. Savary Ryan getting it up to Parker, who charges past one. Miata, well-timed intervention, but can only send it to another Boroondara shirt. Avondale back onto the attack, though. Here's Young. Doesn't have as many options available in the box this time, so making some space for perhaps a shot on the left. The numbers winning out for Boroondara. Vane's pass central was a bit of a tired one. Kellen Knight out towards Wilkinson. Cooling went to deck, but did enough to disrupt the attack. Kellen Knight again. This time hoping for Keane, but Cooling, while making no pretense of the defensive intent and getting the ball away from the danger zone as soon as possible. I mean, as things stand, Boroondara, they'd be closing the gap on Avondale to just the 2 points. Still within striking distance with one game left of the season. Fourth official confirming for us as well. It'll be just the 1 minute of first half stoppage time. So maybe one more look in for Avondale as Kellen Knight from the left-hand side, hoping for Wilkinson. There was Higuchi, only as far as Keane. Wolf makes the save. As she's done all half, standing up when challenged, Taylor Wolf. And Boroondara edging towards the halftime whistle for what has been a splendid first 45.
It certainly has been. And I think you can make all the personnel changes in the world for the hosts. It's not going to make a difference. The decision-making today has just been below par. Dribbling when they should be passing, passing when they should be dribbling. Look at that for an example. 3 Eagles players around Ricardo, and Fontes will have a go. She's on a hat-trick after 42 minutes. And Ben Howe puts the whistles to his lips and signals half-time here. And this certainly is a result that will have people questioning what the hosts are about. It's more about pride now for Avondale coming out in the second half. They've just got to have a different approach. They seem all over the shop, and Eagles have come to play, Oscar. And without a doubt, they have been the better team and made the most of their chances.
Well, I'm not quite prepared to rule out Avondale just yet. If there's any team who can launch this comeback, Avondale are absolutely stacked with talent who can do some special things, but it has been just about the worst possible half for Avondale. 3-0 behind. They have everything to do in the second 45. For Boroondara, the challenge is whether they can sustain what they put out in that first half. Will there be a change in tack from Luke Avar, maybe a slightly less ambitious approach, or will they continue to really take the game to their host? This has been a first 45 which will send shockwaves through the Senol NPLW Victoria competition with just a few weeks remaining in the season. Still 45 minutes though to play, and plenty to keep your eye on as we head towards the second half here at Avenger Park. But at the break, it's Boroondara, 3 goals to the good, 2 from Genevieve Fontes, 1 from Sarah Brunner. Avondale with it all to do. Talk to you again in around about 15 or 20 minutes time for the second 45. But at the break at Avenger Park, Avondale 0, Boroondara 3.
Who's coming on?
Canberra.
Oh, Canberra.
That's what I saw. And she's not out there, so yeah, that's right.
Hello and welcome back to round 25 action of the Senol NPL Victoria Women's, live from Avenger Park ahead of the second half. Thank you so much for joining us on the YouTube live stream from wherever you may be tuning in from. It's currently 3-0 to the visitors, with goals coming on the 20th minute from Fontes, the 28th minute by Sarah Brunner, and the 42nd minute, Fontes getting her second, as Avondale will make a change. Taylor Ray coming into the fold, with Cam Barrero making way. So one change here from the visitors, with a lot of work to be able to do in the second half to get back into this game. It's been the American contingent who have been making most of the damage for the away team so far. And we can see there Taylor Ray sitting in that anchoring role, as she's best known to do. And Beattie Goad has come out into that left-back position, where she's more familiar in and probably has more of an opportunity to be able to get up and down that left-hand side and create more of an attacking thrust for the home team. As she picks up the ball and plays it into the path of Miata. Swift little turn away from Crisfield, but not able to find the feet of Wilkinson. Crisfield robbed off possession there by Miata, and already Avondale, you can see, are turning up the tempo. Keane cutting inside, going all the way to the byline and trying to get a cross in. Cut off really well by Cooling, who's come across. And we can already see here they must have got a rocket at half-time, Oscar. And it just looks like Aidan Keane, in crossing, had a little bit of a yell in pain. Not too sure exactly what's happened there on that occasion.
Yeah, not totally sure either, Daniel. I mean, as you said, it was really at the moment that you tried the cross and just went down and looked to be in a bit of discomfort. Just be holding her back at the moment, so we'll see if that's anything too serious. I have to say, I like the change of bringing Taylor Ray into the game. She's I guess more of a proper midfielder than Beattie Goad, so someone who can receive the ball in those tight areas, progress the ball with the ball at her feet, and Beattie Goad reverting to a far from unfamiliar fullback position for this second half.
Keller Knight with the ball, just hitting the top of the net there on that occasion, not the delivery that she wanted. If there was one thing that Avondale can do a lot better in this second half, is open the supply line to Wilkinson up top. That's certainly something that they can do a lot better in. As Eagles are looking to play out Crisfield, the 16-year-old does fantastically well under pressure there to be able to shuffle it out wide to Reese, who has Spacey ahead of her, plays it into the feet of Fontes, who tries to be able to pass the baton up the line into the path of Brunner, cut off there by Accardo on that occasion. So it'll be interesting to see if Avondale can gain more control within that midfield with that change of Ray coming in into that anchoring role, with Miata and Keller Knight almost changing the inverted pyramid in the midfield, having 2 10s now. Miata doing really well just to let the ball run through her legs into the path of Wilkinson, into Keane now with space ahead of her. She'll drive into it on her left, goes around Wolf, and it just goes out of her grasp over the byline for a goal kick, but that's far better from Avondale. A much more quicker attacking intent there to be able to release Keane. She had the opportunity to be able to fire off a shot, but just ran out of real estate.
Yeah, it's as dangerous as Avondale have looked for a fair while. Aidan Keane, who was the most demonstrative of the Avondale players throughout that first half in her frustrations with how things panned out, she's clearly come out with a bit more intent, and so have her teammates to get themselves back into this game. Of course, Avondale do benefit from a bit of a reputation for, well, how good they've been, how much winning they've done, how rarely they've lost over the last 2-3 months. That if they were to grab that first goal in the next 10 or so minutes, the pressure starts to mount on Boroondara. That flick on header towards Wilkinson won't matter because the offside flag is raised. But football games can turn easily. They can shift, and momentum can go from one way to the other. And if Avondale can nab that opening goal and start to really pin back their opponents, as we've seen a little bit of in this last couple of minutes, we may well see Boroondara needing to really put all hands on deck to defend and hold on to their lead. They'll be hoping, though, and if they can navigate the next 15-20 minutes, the Eagles, with a 3-0 lead intact, they'll start to feel perhaps a little bit more comfortable that they can see out the remainder of this game. Just by way of a half-time update as well from the scores around the grounds and the concurrent fixtures to this. The 3 games kicking off at the same time. Essendon Royals 3-0 up against Heidelberg at the break, as we see Miata's touch for Wilkinson once more. The big Kiwi striker's gone a little bit early. The Avondale coaching staff certainly expressing their displeasure with that call, but the Royals 3-0 up against Heidelberg, whilst Box Hill with a 1-0 lead at Keilor Park at the break, so looking as if the title race will go down to the final day. Whilst of relevance to Boroondara, it's Alamein trailing Melbourne Victory at the halftime break at the home of the Matilda, so that and this result, well, either of those outcomes would result in Boroondara sewing up a top 6 spot, confirming their finals berth, and taking the race for top 4 down to the final day with Avondale as well. Bulleen, they've just kicked off a few minutes ago in their game against Spring Hill, so still plenty to play out. And for Avondale, first and foremost, they'll be hoping to get this game going a little bit more in their favour, as we see the build-up from the back with Janitsaris and Ocado. Young on the turn was effective, but just saw the ball get away from her. Already we're perhaps seeing a higher defensive line from Avondale, just not looking to find themselves trapped in their own defensive third in the way that they were for large parts of that first 45. Keane looks to get on the turn to beat Hereford and does so to good effect. Couldn't beat Crisfield though. Ray up to Wilkinson on the turn. And it's been, well, she's been putting her body out there in the first 6-7 minutes of this second half, Wilkinson, just not yet getting any reward. Keane's ball, once again looking to find her strike partner. Higuchi tracking back. Referee not interested in rewarding Higuchi, who went to ground. This is Goad. As Savary Ryan closing down the space. And Avondale forced into recycling the ball. Over to the right-hand side. Trainer. Up to Young. Thought about the first time cross. Sloane Young makes some space onto the left. Now Trainer will send the cross inside. Wilkinson gets onto it. Kellen Knight arriving. The shot was at the goalkeeper. A fairly straightforward claim though for Taylor Wolfe, but some more positive signs from Avondale in the second half.
Absolutely, Oscar. And what I've certainly seen from Avondale immediately is the ability for Miata and Kellen Knight to be able to get closer to Hannah Wilkinson when they do have clear possession of the ball here, and allowing their fullbacks to be able to overlap into the space that the wingers provide when they cut inside, just putting more pressure on that Eagles defence. As they have a chance to counter-attack here through Coco Parker, who tries to feed it into the path of Fontes. She wasn't really expecting that one. Bennett will clear. A lot of backspin on that one. Only as far as the head of Savary Ryan, as Crisfield will push that one along. Parker again. Ray with the ball. Just nudged there by Parker. And Avondale will have a free kick. And they look to playing it quick, as Ray tries to spread the play to Trainer, who isn't able to bring the ball under a spell on that occasion. And Avondale, in wanting to try and get the game moving as quickly as possible, just a little bit too quick on that occasion. Brunner trying to get the ball under control, still has it. Plays it out to Fontes, who's moved into a wide position. Really well cut out there by Goad at the near post. Ray turns, plays Young, who tries to be able to play it first time into the path of Miata. Cut off by Fontes. And Vane the two University of California students coming across this season, trying to link up. Keane into the path of Kellen Knight. Cut off there by Bridie Cooling, who can only do so much as to get the ball out for a throw-in. The pace has certainly picked up from Avondale at the start of this second half, as you would expect. But it's just finding that balance between fast attacking play and composure is what's going to be needed to eventually get past Wolfing Goals, who has been fantastic so far in this game.
Yeah, not just quicker attacking play, but just about every player on the pitch taking up more advanced positions in this second half. Of course, that, at least in part, a result of Boroondara being a little bit more conservative with their positioning.
As Sloane Young is entering into the box here, still has possession of it and finally tackled there by Higuchi.
But yeah, we've seen just about every outfield player on the park in the Boroondara half for moments, for the last few minutes really, in this second 45. So they're really looking to just pin back their hosts and layer on the pressure over the course of a series of accumulated attacks for Avondale at the moment. They do now have themselves a corner to send in, which Elise Kellen Knight, well, for which she's charged with the responsibility. Didn't quite contact with that one the way she was hoping. It found its way through in the end to Taylor Wolf, but a fairly straightforward claim. I think Kellen Knight scuffed the corner a little bit, so didn't get anywhere near the height or power on it, which did make it a little bit more awkward, but ended up okay for Boroondara. It's a great first touch from Crisfield. Looked towards Fontes, but instead Goad plays into Scepter. Keane out towards Wilkinson. A few options in the box. If she could have kept the ball in play, Hannah Wilkinson, but unable to do so. It's been a trying second half so far for the Kiwi striker. Nothing she's really tried has come off how she would have hoped. Here's Goad for Avondale. Of course, the 3-0 first half of Boroondara made all the more impressive by the fact that it's against the best defensive team in the NPLW Victoria coming into this week. And a team that has beaten just about every comer to Avenger Park so far this campaign. Look at the records against top 7 teams for both of these outfits, against the 7 teams still in the finals race. Avondale 6 wins, a couple of draws and 3 losses that they've sustained, so a winning record, more wins than draws or defeats for the Avengers, whilst for Boroondara it's the 5 wins, 7 defeats. That pass back invites a bit of danger. Sarah Brunner has been largely unsighted in the second half, very nearly stole a march and could have scored the goal that would surely wrap up the result in this one. But the 5 wins from 12 games for Boroondara, that including a cup defeat to Box Hill. So they're certainly capable of beating their direct rivals. Nothing like what we've seen so far this afternoon. Beatty Goad getting the better of her opponent in Savri Ryan, I should say. And having survived an attacking move, Avondale now look to surge forward back into the Boroondara half.
Trainer playing it inside to Wilkinson, who lays it off to Ray with an opportunity to be able to switch the play here. Janet Saris gets her head up, plays to the feet of Goad. Nice, neat 1-2 with Miata. Goad plays it into the path of Keane now, who's driving beyond Herford, cuts it back to Kellen Knight, scuffs her shot. Beatty Goad trying to find that space, but it's really well tackled there in the end by Cooling, who tries to release Fontes, cut off by Accardo. And that's the only concern that I have for the Eagles in this second half. Herford and Reese don't necessarily have the incentive to be able to burst forward, and their narrow attacking play means that they're funneling all their attacks into the centre of the pitch, making it easy for Avondale to be able to read them and cut off. And if they get a goal back, all of a sudden the momentum of this game will completely change.
Yeah, but also that last attack, I think, somewhat summing up Avondale's day, the Kellen Knight shot, which she really drove the boot into the ground more than at the ball. Another corner delivery by KK. This time it's Higuchi who got the head away, only as far as Miyata. Asuka Miyata had a couple to beat, got past Parker but not Vane. And now is there a counter-attacking opportunity for Boroondara. Fontes and Vane exchange possession. Eventually goes with the retreat. Fontes threatening to make the run in behind. That's a nice little touch from Brunner. Continuing with the run was Reese, but eventually the defensive numbers winning out for Avondale. Miyata on the churn, retreats all the way back to the captain, Janet Saris. So over an hour played now at Avenger Park. The seconds continue to tick by as Boroondara edge towards their most impressive win of the season. That ball from Crisfield, you saw the idea with Brunner making the run. Fourth goal would for sure, you'd think, end the Avondale resistance, which is currently being put up. Ricardo spreading to Trainer, who charges back into the Boroondara half. Wilkinson on the turn, tees up Young, and now this is Keane. Resumes her battle with Herford. And the Boroondara defender timing the challenge nicely. And at least Kellen Knight will march on over to deliver another Avondale corner.
Aideen Keane certainly has been the sparking light for Avondale so far in this game, and is getting closer and closer to being able to find the telling pass or shot as Kellen Knight gets the ball into Wilkinson, saved by Wolf and eventually cleared. Really good delivery there, much better from Kellen Knight to be able to find Hannah Wilkinson. Wasn't able to beat Wolf on that occasion, who has stood up really well as Ray tries to be able to loft it forwards into the path of Miyata and Wilkinson. Vane dropping deeper and deeper to be able to help out her defence and clear.
But again for Avondale, I mean, they're getting closer, but that's the third or fourth time we've seen a ball into the area for a shot, whether it's with a boot or with the head towards goal, which has just been mistimed. And Wilkinson couldn't get anywhere near the power that she would have expected on that one, which made it a lot easier to defend for Boroondara.
Absolutely, Oscar. That quality of ball into the final third just hasn't quite been there for the Avengers so far. But the more numbers that they push forward, the better chance that they're going to have. As Goad picks up possession, cuts inside, tries to find the return pass to Kellen Knight. Keane, again, in possession. Playing it into Goad. Miyata on the overlapping run, and again, caught offside. And she really shouldn't have been on that occasion. Had the line of vision across the Boroondara back four to be able to see whether she was going to stray offside or not. And on this occasion, as we've seen in the last 15 minutes, just a little bit too eager to be able to get in behind. But it's Aideen Keane, born in New South Wales, won a title with Melbourne City, plenty of experience. She's the one that they're looking to at the moment. And you can only see a chance for them coming shortly between her and Wilkinson to eventually be able to get one on the board. As Janet Saris looks to play inside to Miyata. Back to goal. Plays a safe option all the way back to Bennett. And Trainer now with plenty of space to be able to operate in. Play Sloane Young. Can't find the return pass to Trainer on the overlap, and Eagles now have an opportunity. Brunner playing it down the line to Fontes. Tracked really well there by Janet Saris, who uses all her experience to shield the ball out of play for a throw-in. Gets it back into play really quickly, and Ocado will drive forwards. Sloane Young now, the Floridian, completed her graduate's degree in psychology, if you didn't know. Keane does really well to be able to get it back to Sloane Young. Pokes it out to Wilkinson, cut off by Cooling. Keller Knight now with the ball. Goad attacking the space, doing really well in doing so. Playing it to Wilkinson, out in the left now, crossing it across goals to Goad, who toes it towards goals. Not enough power on that shot. Cleared by Reese, only as far as Taylor Ray, playing it into Miata, who has an effort, nearly catching Wolf off guard there from as far as 30 yards out. Wolf gets across, palms it away for a corner. But a telling shot there from Miata, but not quite good enough to be able to beat what has really been a good performance from Taylor Wolf in goal so far.
Yeah, I think the ball just swerved a little late for Wolf and was almost caught off guard, but did just enough to tip it around the post. That chance for Beatty Goad a couple seconds prior. As good a look as Avondale have had in a little while now. Another corner to be sent in by Keller Knight. This one finds the head of Wilkinson. It's over the bar, but it will be another Avondale corner forthcoming. This really is crunch time for the Avengers. You feel if they can't grab a goal in the next 5 or so minutes, Boroondara will be close enough to the line that they should be able to navigate the remainder of the contest. Avondale, though, if they can nab one, just turn up the temperature by a couple of degrees. Keller Knight again sends it in, beats the goalkeeper, beats everyone really, but the referee's whistle coming to Boroondara's aid. Another ball into the area, another effective navigation for the Eagles. We mentioned in the first half that they're the team in the top 7 who have by far the leakiest defence, but it hasn't looked like it so far this afternoon as we see a ambitious attempt to play out from the back from Boroondara, and they were very nearly made to pay.
They've got to be so careful there, being able to play out the back quickly without being aware, nearly giving Keane an opportunity to steal in the ball there and have a shot from no more than 5 yards out, as Goad plays Keller Knight, who is expecting the run from Miata diagonally but just didn't get it. Cleared only as far as Keller Knight again, and they'll recycle possession. Eagles being forced back further and further as the contest goes on. The Avengers trying to pick their way through this Eagles defence, but not really having too much luck so far. And it's the combination of Cooling and Aguchi in centre-back, and what they've been doing so far in this game is marshalling the defence and the midfielders in front of them really well, from corners, from open play, forcing Avondale to go out wide, and then just having enough numbers in the box to be able to clear it and get a foot to it when need be. As Miata finds time and space on the ball, plays it to Ray, to Janet Saris, out to Goad, and that's good play from Avondale. Good little pass in behind to Ray into that channel, but again, the Avondale attackers have been ruled offside, just not timing their runs into the box. It was a fantastic little chip ball from Goad in the first place, and you would think Taylor Ray was either going to get a shot off or be able to cut it back, but just wasn't given the opportunity to be able to do so. As Boroondara Eagles look to plan a couple of substitutions just to change the momentum into this game and bring on some fresh legs. We'll see who they bring to the fray soon, as Janet Saris does really well to be able to capture the ball and play it out to Sloane Young, 1v1 with Reese. Sloan Young cutting in, but cut off really well by Parker, doing her defensive duties and just fouling me out of there about 30 yards from goal. This is an opportunity now for Avondale. From a tough angle, you would think it would be a shot, but it could be a cross into the box, into the likes of Wilkinson, Oscar. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's a different angle for KK. We've seen a lot of corners sent in which haven't led to a whole lot. I imagine KK is more likely to try and tee it up for a teammate, but it really is getting desperate at this point for Avondale. Killer Knight decides to go herself. And that one's managed to make it all the way over the fence behind the goal, so that tells you how far off it was. It's been that kind of afternoon for Avondale. They just have not looked sharp enough. They've looked flat. Nothing they've really tried has come off as they would have intended it. That first 20 minutes was good and competitive, but once Boroondara took the lead, they, of course, totally controlled the flow of the game in the first half. And then in this second 45, the Eagles, they've done really an excellent job at navigating what's been a pretty relentless Avondale attacking phase of play, but without looking particularly likely to score. Here's Brunner for Boroondara. Maybe a fourth to put some icing on the cake from an Eagles perspective. He's patient in the build-up as Fontes picks up possession on the left flank. Trainer got the block in before Ricardo sent it upfield. And now Higuchi, cool as ever under pressure. Passes it all the way back to Taylor Wolf, who's clearing ball. He's cut out by Young, so it does mean Avondale in a dangerous spot. Taylor Ray pulled the trigger from a long way out. Well, that one was closer than at least Keller Knight's a minute or so ago, but not by much.
Not troubling any cars in the car park for sure with that effort, but it's the desperation. The longer that this game goes on, the further the shots will come from goals when they just have an opportunity to be able to play it out wide and get closer to being able to craft that cutback, which is what Avondale love to do. Chrisfield and Miata competing in the air. Waved play on from centre ref Ben Howell, who's officiated this game really well so far. Aideen Keane going 1v1 with Hereford. Crossing the ball into the box, trying to find Wilkinson. Cleared again from Higuchi. Parker will head it in front of her with Ray closing it down and earning herself a throwing on the far hand side. This is where Avondale really need to be able to just pick the right tempo to be able to make sure that their passes come off, and that's a perfect combination there. Sloan Young trying to get possession of the ball. It just didn't fall to her, and it's gone out for a goal kick as the Eagles will make their change. Number 12, Zoe Bennett, preparing to come onto the field, and it will be Emma Vane coming off, who was putting a superb shift in midfield, doing her defensive duties magnificently well in this second half, but also combining really well with the front three. And Bennett will come on just to look to be able to shore things up.
I mean, credit to Emma Vane. Wonderful afternoon. Not exactly a glamorous footballer, but was a really integral part of that Boroondara midfield, which really set up the game for the Eagles in that first half just by dominating Avondale with and without the ball. And Boroondara, you get the sense they feel they're creeping closer, and indeed they are. And you wonder whether belief for Avondale is just wavering as they continue to fall short. Askamiata on the turn, fires the shot towards goal. It's off the crossbar and out. Askamiata, an unlikely source of a way back into the game, but not to be for Avondale yet again. Just about every player in the front half of the field has had at least a shot in this second 45. None of them have come off. Taylor Ray hoping to change that here, but her pass well over the head of Aideen Keane.
Shoot on sight is the policy so far for the hosts. in these last 20 minutes. Anytime they have an opportunity to be able to unleash a strike, they're not afraid to. That effort certainly really well performed there by Miata. The technique on that one to wrap the inside of her right foot around it and just curl it over the top of Wolf, bouncing off the crossbar. It's as close as they've come. Ocado now doing what she does best, being able to drive the ball forwards, commit numbers and find a pass. Goad into Kellen Knight, first time out to Miata, who's drifting out to the wings to try and find space because there's not much of it in the midfield. That's what the Eagles have done well, really clogging up the middle of the park as Savarian forces it forward only as far as Kellen Knight. Miata seeing a lot of the ball in the last 10 minutes. But again, it's a pass astray. Not really finding the run of Keane, who wasn't really offering any support in that circumstance. Janet Saris letting the ball run across her body. Finding Kellen Knight into Miata. Not rushed to be able to get the ball forward. Wilkinson, first time out to Goad. Back to Wilkinson. All the space is on the other side of the pitch and they continue to go down the same alley. Crisfield trying to play it up to Brunner. Janet Saris does really well to be able to get across to the Kiwi goalkeeper in Bennett. Super experienced is Brooke Bennett. Taylor Ray finding Sloane Young, who gets her head up, comes across the pitch. Goad now with plenty of space ahead of her and she'll receive it from Janet Saris and go 1v1. Goad does really well, but just being led down a blind alley again, coming to Miata at the top of the box. Can they find a combination? Bennett does really well just to be able to track and keep her for company. Ray back to Wilkinson in an unfamiliar position. Crosses into King, cleared really well by Aguchi. Comes to Sloane Young, who's fouled in the box from Reese, giving Avondale a prime opportunity to finally be able to get a goal on the board here. A speculative cross deep from Wilkinson, came to the back post. Young did what she needed to do to be able to take a touch across. She went down, got the penalty that she wanted, and now Avondale have the opportunity to score.
Well, the tricky feet from Sloane Young, doing the trick, drawing the foul. 18 Keane simply has to score this for Avondale. It's Keane. Oh, saved by Wolf. Can the afternoon get any better for Boroondara? Taylor Wolf, quick down to the left, makes the save. And for 18 Keane, just about nothing she's tried has come off in this game, and that continues as we edge towards the final 10 minutes of the 90. That pass back is dangerous. Coco Parker through on goal to make it 4 over the bar.
Wow, Oscar, what a 60 seconds that was. Keane just didn't look comfortable going up and taking that. And it was ex-Bentley Green's goalkeeper, the 20-year-old Wolf, coming up with a fantastic save, reading it. And then moments later, Parker with the opportunity there to get a fourth from Eagles. A ridiculous set of circumstances there. But Avondale will be so disappointed with that. And just surprising there, as Keane has an opportunity there to sneak ahead of Wolf, get a toe on it. But it's marshalled and deemed to be a goal kick on that occasion. Oh, Keane will be so disappointed with herself, Oscar.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a terrible penalty, but it wasn't a particularly good one either. It was low down. Wolf had to get the dive correct, but it was in a very gettable range for the goalkeeper as well. And again, just summing up the afternoon for Avondale. Just looking at the permutations from this result and the other results around the grounds. Of course, Bulleen and Spring Hills kicking off an hour after this one, and that's the game which perhaps has the most obvious relevance to this fixture. Bulleen, well, surprisingly finding themselves behind against Spring Hills half an hour into that one. So we'll see how that one pans out. But with the result as this currently stands, well, we'll pause that thought as Aiden Keane looking to change the result. Keane, ball inside to Wilkinson. Wilkinson towards goal. Oh, that's a sensational save. Taylor Wolf is standing up to everything that's being asked in this second half. It was a really nice attempt for Wilkinson just to chip it over the goalkeeper, but somehow, some way, Wolf getting enough on it to palm it over the crossbar. And when you're getting the impression that if we played for 180 minutes, Avondale still might not be able to score. Kellen Knight to deliver the corner. It's a flatter delivery that time. Wilkinson towards goal. Follow up. There it is. Finally for Avondale. A scramble in the box. They needed 3 or 4 bites at it, but eventually it's bundled home. And inside the final 10 minutes as we are, there is just a glimmer, the slightest glimmer of hope for the hosts as they look to make the unlikeliest of surges towards this Boroondara lead.
It was Beatty Goad there that got the touch that was needed to be able to force that one over the line, as Boroondara will make a change here just off the back of that. Number 6 coming off, which is Madeline Rees for Emily Lewis. You would think would be a like-for-like change. Looks like Lewis is lining up on that far left-hand side. So Hannah Wilkinson had the first decisive touch from the Kellen Knight corner, and it was saved, but just poked home there. They had 3 bodies around it. It had to be one of them, and it was Goad in the end. So Avondale do finally get their goal, and they've got the wind beneath their sails now. Keane into Young, back to Keane, to the top of the box, just beyond Kellen Knight there. Keane going 1v1 with Hereford, doing really well. Aideen Keane getting to the byline, cutting it back to Young from the angle, and it's another goal. Sloane Young on her left foot, too much time and the space afforded to her, and it's 3-2. And all of a sudden, this game has changed massively. 2 goals in the space of 2 minutes. One from Beatty Goad. Sloane Young finally getting on the score sheet. Aideen Keane doing so well down that left-hand side to be able to beat her Manning Hereford and cut the ball back. And this is going to be a very exciting now last 8 minutes here at Avenger Park.
Well, you can never rule out this Avondale team. They've kept on coming, and even when it looked like it just wasn't going to be their day, they've continued to knock on the door, and finally, having got one, they've quickly made it 2. And just like that, an afternoon that was looking as comfortable as you like for Boroondara is danger zone areas. Avondale are coming with still, well, it must be at least 10 minutes still to play. This would be an almighty comeback from the Avengers. Was going to say that the result as it stands with a Boroondara win would make it very likely that these 2 teams meet again in finals. That ball for Aideen Keane, onside, Aideen Keane! Avondale have done it! 3-0 down with 10 minutes to play. Tick forward a couple of minutes and Avondale are level. It is unbelievable at Avenger Park. And the Never Say Die Avengers are right back into this one.
What a pass from Sloane Young going across the pitch there, finding Keane unmarked at the back post, who did amazing just to bring it under a spell, and with the inside of her right foot, be able to find a way past Taylor Wolf, and it's 3-3 here at Avenger Park. You wouldn't read about it, but it just goes to show you football is such a funny game, and Eagles have just switched off. As Crisfield releases Savary Ryan down the right-hand side, this game has gone up a couple notches. Cross comes into the box. It's blocked there in the end. Emily Lewis nearly having an opportunity. Bennett from range, audacious. And Eagles now have an opportunity. Brunner playing it into Fontes, who has just found herself out in this left-hand wing more and more as the second half has gone on. Ray clears it with the head, only as far as Lewis. who plays it back to Brunner. And Eagles now, with really their first opportunity that I've seen in this second half to really settle and get their foot on it. You would think they would be shell-shocked, but they're wanting to be able to get one back here as well. Brunner running onto her own pass, getting there ahead of Ricardo. It's a tight and tense battle. Brunner comes out on top, gets her head up, crosses the ball into Savary-Ryan, cleared by Goad. Fontez with an effort just over the bar. And wow, what a breathless last 5 minutes that was, Oscar.
It's right up there with the games of the season, this at Avenger Park. Avondale, they've already played a 3-3. If you go back a couple of months, that thrilling contest against Boleyn, Maya Markovsky at the very death securing a point for the Lions. This time it's Avondale doing the coming back. And as you say, Boroondara with the quick response. Here's 18 Keane for Avondale, making her way down the left. Still continuing with the run. The touch just getting away from her. But this game has been the gift that keeps on giving. We've seen the very best of Boroondara. And in a matter of 2 or 3 minutes, we've seen the best of Avondale too. Football, hey? A barnstormer of a contest, and there's time yet for more change. Here's Wilkinson on the left flank. Thought about the first time cross, instead hesitates and pulls it to Keane. Keane challenged by Crisfield, but legally according to our referee. Avondale will take their opportunity to go to the bench again. And it's the end of the afternoon for Georgia Traynor on that far side. And she'll make way for Danny Galluccio. Galluccio, of course, a very experienced NPLW operator. And onto the park for these final few minutes. Kellen Knight for Avondale. Goes the cross inside. It's a bit close to Wolf, and the goalkeeper with a fairly straightforward claim. And now we wonder to what extent Boroondara will go after this win. We've already seen some attacking intent since that equalising goal. Parker was up and down a couple of times before the ball sent out to that left flank with Lewis. Lofted forward again, and that one will be watched the whole way by Ricardo. It did. Well, one of the players was offside, so Avondale quick to restart play. Janet Saris at the back. A player who's seen just about everything in a storied career. This will be some kind of highlight if Avondale can nab a goal to win it. Kellen Knight the target. Some appeal for a penalty in the area, but referee happy to wave play on.
And we've got an absolute grandstand finish now for the last 2 minutes, plus any additional time added on in this game. Boroondara Eagles, who only have one draw to their name all season, are looking for their second if the game stays the way that it is at the moment. Hannah Wilkinson nearly had an opportunity there just to be able to steal it in front of Wolf, who did well to be able to come out and claim. Avondale going forwards with the impetus that we've seen all in the second half. Wilkinson deemed to be offside on that occasion. And Boroondara Eagles, who for the majority of the second half were happy to be able to sit in and shift it from side to side, you would think that they were going to be able to see out the rest of this game. But that goal in the 80th minute from Beatty Goad really just changed everything as Fontez picks up the ball. Cut off by Ricardo. Young, who's really come into the game in the last 10 minutes, again linking up with Aideen Keane, going 1v1 here, cutting inside, trying to find that reverse pass. Miata on the top of the box, looking for the overlap, cut off really well by Savary-Ryan, who should earn herself a throw-in, and Eagles have an opportunity for a reprieve.
I think you're right to mention the fact that Boroondara have played just the one draw this season. I mean, if they were to draw another game, it was probably going to look something like this. They don't do draws, Luke Avar's team, and we've seen why in this game. They've brought absolutely everything to this game, and now even at 3-3, you get the sense that both teams still believe that they can grab the all-important 7th goal, as we're about to find out how much second half stoppage time there will be to play.
Keller Knight wins that header into the path of Wilkinson, who cuts inside Cooling and earns herself a corner, firing it across the shins of Higuchi. And it will be another delivery, you can only assume, from Elise Keller Knight, who will float it perfectly into the middle of the 6-yard box, as 4 minutes of additional time have been signalled by the fourth official here at Avenger Park. Keller Knight drives that one into the box, cleared away temporarily. Parker hooks it away from the danger. Avondale will come again though. Janet Saris into Ray, plays it out wide to Ricardo, who has remained forward from the corner, cuts it back to Young, inside the box, playing it to the top of the box where Beatty Goat is. Avondale just trying to find a moment of lapse in concentration, a bit of space. Wilkinson flicks it to Keane towards the back post, takes a touching side, but it's offside again. That was a really good opportunity there. Had she been able to hold her run, she's really unhappy with the linesman on the far-hand side. But Boroondara stands strong. Wolf playing it to Lewis. Cuts inside. Not much running ahead of her. 3 Avondale players going to close her down. That's a massive change that we've seen in this second half. Where was that from Avondale for the first 80 minutes? Goad gets her head up. Lumps it forwards into the direction of Wilkinson. Gets it under a spell. Plays Young, who turns and burns. Sloane Young tackled really well by Herford coming across, and it's another corner on the far side here. Can Avondale find a fourth? Can they be able to get the breakthrough that they've really earned in this last 10 minutes, the opportunity to be able to do so? Keller Knight with the delivery coming in.
Well, having spent so much of this half looking unlikely to score, Avondale to win the game. Keller Knight's delivery was skinny, but all of a sudden it does feel like every time they go into the box, the Avengers, they look like scoring. It's the total inverse of what we saw for almost the entirety of this game. It's what you get for the quality, the quantity of quality really that Avondale have at their disposal. You cannot switch off even in the final 10 minutes because they can come from anywhere. Here's Wilkinson. Keller Knight was arriving in support. Now this is Aideen Keane. Aideen Keane fires the shot. Wonderful save from Wolf. That one looked really difficult to track. It was moving all sorts of directions, and the goalkeeper doing just enough to send it behind for another corner.
Keane has done really well to keep her head up after missing that penalty, and she's even been more involved and more tenacious to be able to get on her score sheet and provide for her teammates after that. It's been really fantastic to be able to see, and she's almost single-handedly, with the likes of Young, been able to drag her team back into this game, as Keller Knight will look to be able to put in a better delivery, which she does in swinging towards the near post, cleared by Herford, only as far as Ray, who heads it back to Keller Knight, lumps it in on her right foot, cleared away again by Higuchi, who's been fantastic so far. Miata, again another delivery in the box, cleared again by Higuchi. Lewis pokes it forward to Parker, just bounces up off her arm, but it's accidental, and the ball forwards into Fontes just wasn't as clean as Savarian would like it. Ricardo out to Keane again, 1v1, cutting inside, lofted towards the back post, but just wasn't as she would have liked it, as the ball squirms away for a goal kick. And there's not much left in this game. That could be it.
Yeah, that'll take us past the 4 minutes of stoppage time allowed in this second half, so you imagine that our referee might well blow the whistle once this goal kick is taken. I mean, a draw is the least that Boroondara deserves, so there is some sense of justice in them not quite succumbing to defeat. That is full time at Avenger Park, one of the games of the season. Boroondara exceptional for 80 minutes, 3-0 to the good by half-time. They maintained that advantage for almost the entire second half. They got to the final 10 minutes and looked as if they'd be home and hosed, but then Avondale came. They had one more gear to go into, and boy, did Avondale take their opportunity once it presented. 3 goals in the final 10 minutes to see the Avengers and Eagles share the spoils, 1 point each, as they head into their respective final game of the campaign and a potential rematch in an elimination final in 2 weeks' time. Daniel, it was an incredible afternoon of football. Avondale, they came back hard at the end. It's a bit harsh on Boroondara, who were the better team for the majority of the game, but that's just what Avondale could do to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Eagles will be absolutely devastated having a lead of 3 goals with 10 minutes to go, but it's the quality of Sloane Young and 18 Keane which really made the difference. They were stifled for the majority of the game, that duo, but when they came alive, they absolutely did and proved pivotal today, this afternoon. And Avondale, really slow starting to this game, worked their way back into it and earned themselves a point here at Avenger Park this afternoon for round 25 action of the Senol NPL Victoria Women's. Thank you so much for joining us from wherever that may be on the YouTube live stream. I've been your commentator, Daniel Christie, joined by Oscar Rutherford. Thank you so much. We've got one more round in the regular season to go next week, and we look forward to joining you then. Thank you very much.